There is a direction to things. Forward. Always forward. Imagine a glass falling from a table. It shatters into 1,000 shards. You have seen this happen. It is mundane. But if you saw those shards suddenly leap from the floor, fusing back together into a perfect, unblemished vessel, you would know instinctively that you were witnessing a lie. Physics does not forbid it. If you look at the atoms individually, the equations of motion work perfectly well in reverse. And yet, the universe refuses to allow it. This is the only law of physics that can distinguish the past from the future. It is the reason you cannot remember tomorrow. It is the reason you cannot unbreak a heart or unburn a forest. We give this tyrant a name, entropy. It is often called disorder, but that is too simple. It is a measure of probability. It is the statistical certainty that there are infinitely more ways for things to be broken than for them to be whole. The second law of thermodynamics is not merely a suggestion. It is the ultimate sentence passed upon reality. It states that in an isolated system, entropy chaos must always increase. Energy dissipates. Heat spreads out. Complex structures crumble into dust. The universe is slowly, irrevocably shuffling a deck of cards that can never be put back in order. Every moment that passes is a door closing, locking us out of the past forever. You look at a mountain and you see stability. You see something all monolithic, eternal. You look at the sun and you see an everlasting fire. But this is a trick of your perception. Your life is so short you mistake a slow explosion for silence. The mountain is flowing like a river, grain by grain, down to the sea. The sun is frantically burning its fuel, raging against the dying of the light, spending a currency it can never earn back. Nothing is still. Everything is currently in the process of dying. We are just watching the crash in extremely slow motion. To understand the end of the universe, we must first look at a grave in Vienna. Ludwig Boltzmann was a man who saw the chaos beneath the surface. In the 19th century, while others believed matter was continuous and stable, Boltzmann argued that the world was made of atoms, colliding, bouncing, chaotic little spheres. He realized that order is not a fundamental law. Order is just a statistical unlikelihood. His peers mocked him. They called his ideas absurd. Driven to despair by the scientific community, Boltzmann took his own life in 1906. Tragic, just before his theories were proven correct. On his tombstone, they carved his vindication, a simple equation, S equals K log W. It is the formula that quantifies our doom. Let us look at his equation. The W stands for microstates. Think of a deck of cards. There is only one way for the deck to be perfectly ordered, ace to king, suit by suit. But there are 80 unvigintillion ways for the deck to be mixed up. If you throw the cards in the air, what are the odds they land in perfect order? Technically, it is possible, but it is so statistically impossible that you could shuffle the deck for the entire lifespan of the universe and never see it happen. The universe does not hate order. It simply has infinitely more ways to be messy. Entropy is not a force. It is just my probability taking its course. This probability applies to energy too. Energy cannot be destroyed, we know this, but it can be degraded. Think of a battery. It has useful energy, concentrated, ready to work. But when you use it, that energy doesn't vanish. It turns into what? Heat. Waste heat. Heat is the graveyard of energy. It is disordered. It spreads out. You cannot gather that heat back up to recharge the battery. Once you burn the log, you cannot unburn the smoke. The energy is still there, but it is useless. It has crossed the threshold. But wait, you are looking at your screen. You see light. You see cities, computers, symphonies. Are we not proof that order can increase? No. You are an open system. You eat food. You burn fuel. To create the order of your body, you must create a massive amount of disorder in your environment. You are a heat engine. You scatter energy to stay alive. You are not defying the second law. You are the minute accelerator of it. Eventually, the coffee cup cools down until it matches the temperature of the room. Energy stops flowing. Nothing moves. This is called thermodynamic equilibrium. It is a state of perfect balance, perfect stillness, and in the language of physics, it is the definition of a death. The universe started in a state of low entropy, a tight, hot, ordered singularity. Every star that burns every breath you take pushes it closer to equilibrium, closer to the silence. We are currently living in the astelliferous era, the age of stars. To us, this feels like the permanent state of the universe. We look up and the sky is full of light, but do not be fooled. This era is a flashbulb going off in a dark room. In the lifespan of the cosmos, the time where stars shine is incredibly short. It is a momentary anomaly. A brief party before the house goes quiet. We are lucky. We opened our eyes during the single brightest moment in eternity. But the fuel is finite. Every star you see is a burning fuse. In a few billion years, our sun will swell into a red giant. It will consume the Earth. And then, it will collapse. Across the universe, the gas clouds that form new stars are being used up. The rate of star birth is already dropping. The nursery is closing. The universe is slowly transitioning from a place of creation to a place of management. When the fusion stops, all that remains are white dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes. The white dwarfs are the corpses of stars. They do not generate new heat. They simply radiate the heat they have left. Imagine a universe lit only by cooling embers. Civilizations, if they still exist, will huddle around these dying coals scavenging for warmth. But eventually, even the white dwarfs will fade into black dwarfs, frozen invisible spheres of diamond matter floating in the dark. The lights have gone out. With the stars, dead gravity becomes the only king. We enter the black hole era. The remnants of matter, the planets, the dead stars, the dust are slowly swept up by these gravitational monsters. For eons, they will dominate the dark. They are the vaults where the universe keeps its last scraps of matter. But even the monsters are not immortal. Stephen Hawking taught us that black holes leak. Through a process called Hawking radiation, they slowly bleed energy back into the void. But the timescale here is paralyzing. For a large black hole to evaporate completely, it takes a Google years. That is a 1 followed by 100 zeros. It is a period of time so vast that the entire history of stars burning is less than a blink of an eye in comparison. But eventually, the last black hole will explode in a flash of gamma rays. And then, silence. We enter the photon age. The universe is now a vast, cold soup of photons and neutrinos. Space has expanded so much that these particles are light years apart. They will never meet. They will never interact. There is no here or there. There is no before or after, because nothing changes. Time effectively ceases to exist. Entropy has won. The equation is balanced. The story is over. Why do you remember the past but not the future? It sounds like a simple question. But in a universe ruled by physics, the past and future are just coordinates. The only difference is entropy. You remember the past because the past had lower entropy. It was more ordered. The information was already written. The future is a fog because there are too many ways for the glass to shatter. Too many paths for the chaos to take. Entropy is the barrier that stops you from seeing tomorrow. But it is also the mechanism that allows you to experience time at all. Without this decay, there would be no flow, no narrative, just a frozen block of existence. We often view this decay as a thief. We hate that we age. We hate that moments fade. But consider the alternative. If the stars burned forever, if life never ended, if the party never stopped, would any of it matter? A scarcity creates value. Gold is valuable because it is rare. Your life is valuable precisely because it is fleeting. The fact that this conversation, this sunlight, this breath will never happen again is what gives it weight. Entropy imposes a limit, and that limit forces us to choose what is important. And yet, look at what we do. Knowing the tide is coming, we still build sandcastles. Life is the ultimate act of rebellion against the second law. Every time you create a piece of art, or solve a problem, or build a home, you are taking a pocket of chaos and forcing it into order. You are fighting a war you are destined to lose. The universe will eventually erase your work. The sandcastle will wash away, but the beauty is in the attempt. We are the resistance. We are the universe trying to hold itself together, if only for a moment. Do not mourn the void that comes after. Celebrate the fact that you are here now. We are living in the watch golden age of the cosmos. We are not at the beginning when it was too hot for life. We are not at the end when it will be too cold for thought. We are in the Goldilocks zone of eternity. The stars are bright. The atoms are dancing. The universe is awake. Of all the trillions of years of darkness that lie ahead, you managed to wake up during the brief flash of light. Project your mind forward, past the red giants, past the white dwarfs. Trillions of years from now, somewhere in the cosmos, there will be a last observer. Perhaps it will be biological, perhaps a machine. It will stand sentinel at the end of time, witnessing the death of the very last star. When that light dies, the universe will become a tomb. The last observer will have a final thought, and that thought will generate a tiny amount of heat. It will be the final contribution to the universe's entropy, and then the thinking will stop. It is a terrifying prospect, but I ask you to look at the glass again. If the glass could not break, it would not be glass. It would be a static, boring concept. If the flower could not wilt, it would not be alive. It would be plastic. Entropy is not a curse. It is the sheer price of admission. It is the tax we pay for the privilege of existing in a universe that moves, changes, and evolves. The clock is ticking. The ice is melting. The stars are burning down. Good. That means the story is still happening. Do not waste the light.